Guys, this is Doug with fellowshipofthemartyrs.com. I want to talk some more about Todd Bentley and the Lakeland, Florida thing. I want you to understand that this is that there's a spirit behind this, and that it's really bad and really big and really mean, and that it'll totally bite back when you attack it and try to expose it and stuff. And I'm certainly have felt that and feeling that, and seeing how all kinds of stuff comes snarling up, and the enemy will use all kinds of things to get you to stop talking. Next Friday night at 8 o'clock, I'm supposed to be interviewed, as it stands right now, on an internet radio show. JoeBednarski.com is the website. That's Joe, JoeBednarski.com. Anyway, guy used to be a clan leader, came to Jesus, got an internet radio show. He's already been threatened by the lawyers from Fresh Fire Ministries. They've called his server and threatened the people that run the server and stuff like that. And this is real stuff. These are real bullets. And anyway, so I wanted you to know about that. Now, this video is going to be different than some of the other videos, partly because I'm going to defend Todd Bentley. And I'm sure that there are going to be those people that want to crucify Todd Bentley that are not going to like that after everything I've said, I'm going to defend him. And I'm not going to defend him exactly. I'm more going to point to some of the excesses in what's being said. And as always, it's really important that we correct gently those who are opposing themselves, that they might escape Satan's snare. We do need to warn the sheep. But we need to warn them accurately and precisely, and we need to not just reach for ad hominem, whatever vilification kind of attempts. When I have been forced to rebuke somebody, which I don't do lightly, don't do without prayer and fasting, don't do without just really, really making sure with the Lord that I'm supposed to do it, and then doing it as purely as I possibly can. When I have needed to rebuke somebody, I'm going to do it with prayer and fasting, and with every expectation, as 1 Corinthians 13 says, to hope all things, believe all things, endure all things, whatever. I'm going to always lean toward that, so much as I'm able, that they are brothers and sisters that are deluded and confused and just need correction, rather than that they are willful Satanists intent on destruction and whatever. I understand that a spirit of pride or lust or love of money or whatever can take somebody over that was a really sincere, pure believer previously, and that we need to, as much as we can, restore them to a right relationship with God, not crucify them, shoot our own, and eat their dead bodies. And there's some of the stuff that's going around. Of course, there are those that oppose Lakeland on cessationist grounds, that just because they're charismatics, that's proof enough that they're crazy. And I'm certainly not in that category. I know that people get healed. I know that people get raised from the dead. I know that the gifts of the Spirit are real. I know that angels are real. I know that, I'm not arguing on those grounds. I'm arguing on the dangerous mechanics of what's going on. I haven't told people not to go to Lakeland. I have told people to obey God. And if God says to go to Lakeland for whatever His purposes, then you go. But you put on all your armor, and you don't receive anything from anybody that isn't pure Jesus. Now, that's just good advice anywhere, all the time. If you go to some congregation Sunday morning, wherever it is, however big, whoever's in charge, I'm recommending that you put on all your armor and not receive anything from anybody that's not Jesus. Okay? Don't go down the aisle, anywhere. Don't come to Liberty and say, Lord, give me whatever He's got, without even seeking the Lord, without passing it through the blood of Christ and making sure that it's pure and filtered out everything that He doesn't want for you. Okay? Now, there's a lot of talk about Kundalini spirit and the New Age stuff and all of that involvement with Todd Bentley, Extreme Prophetic, and all those kind of things. And there's a lot of websites where people are talking about that. You can certainly find them all over. I'm not talking about that. I'm not disagreeing that stuff is real. I'm not disagreeing that stuff may be involved. My concern is that you reach too far. That there are people that are reaching way too far. That they're going farther than necessary. For example, Satan is a counterfeiter. Okay? That means that you have a $100 bill, a counterfeit $100 bill looks almost exactly like a real $100 bill, with a few exceptions that are enough to make it a counterfeit and useless, okay? Or get you into big trouble for trying to pass it without knowing. It is not, Satan does not have a $100 bill that looks so completely vastly different than the real $100 bill that you don't even recognize it as a $100 bill anymore. You understand? There are elements that they're going to have in common so that it looks like a counterfeit. Now, for example, one of the things that the people that have put up videos and stuff about the Kundalini spirit talk about, that if people feel heat passing through their body, that it's a Kundalini spirit and that it's New Age and that it's evil, and that proves whatever. Okay, well, you see, that stretches too far. There are some elements, just because somebody's back is involved, maybe they got a back problem and they got healed. That doesn't mean that their spinal, magnetic resonance forces passing through the Kundalini, whatever. Maybe they just got a bad back and God just healed it. There are a lot of times when I have testimonies from lots of people, real, legitimate healings from God, sometimes even by themselves alone, when they got healed and they felt heat pass through their body from the Lord. Some major revivalists in history, like Charles Finney and Smith Wigglesworth and other people, where that was very common. And that in and of itself, as an example, that in and of itself is a dangerous thing to say. Satan, of course, wants you to overreact, to go too far, to cast the net too wide, and then when the real comes, you will dismiss it because it has some of the elements that were associated with the fake one. That's how people say, Baptists say, well, Benny Hinn speaks in tongues, and Benny Hinn's whacked, so anybody speaking in tongues is whacked. Okay, well, you go too far, okay? Now, if you don't like Benny Hinn, that's fine. Then impugn Benny Hinn. But he also wears a suit to church. He also takes up an offering. Or should we stop doing that too? Does that automatically infer that those things are evil? He uses a PA system. Should we stop using PA systems? He has a choir. They sing some of the same worship songs that are sung in mainline whatever congregations. You see, you've got to be careful. And what I see happening is some people who are not called to be watchmen, who are not called to rebuke. Now, we do need to all be instant in season and out of season and all that kind of stuff. But there are those that are capable of delivering a rebuke, of correcting someone in love, that don't have a plank in their own eye. And you need to be just real careful about the motives of your heart and how wide you're casting this net. Because the real is out there. And I don't want people to learn from this Todd Bentley thing and all of the backlash on the internet. I don't want people to learn that healing is not from God, and that anybody that gets healed, it's automatically from Satan. And the argument that said, well, people stood before the Lord and said, but we healed in your name, we prophesied in your name, we cast out demons in your name, and he said, I didn't know you. I never knew you. That doesn't mean that everyone that heals, prophesies, or casts out demons is automatically unknown to Jesus. But some people were doing it for the wrong motives, to glorify themselves, or through the wrong whatever. And you understand what I'm saying? I'm a nobody. Okay? I'm just a voice. I'm just a guy speaking. Okay? But I'm asking you, please, those of you that are out there, to discern carefully, not just Todd Bentley, but the motive of the people coming against Todd Bentley. And make sure that it is with restraint and with love. I haven't told people he's a Satanist. He may well be. But I'm not jumping to that. I'm going to start with, he's a brother who's deluded, that sincerely loves God, that's off track, and has heard some wrong things, listened to some wrong doctrine, not tested the spirits, whatever, and he's in trouble. And we need to pray for him and rescue him and gently correct him. Until somebody proves differently, I'm going to go with that. And I'm going to be real careful about the manifestations that are happening, and not saying that something that's happening is not the Holy Spirit when it could be. Okay? And particularly some of this talk about what people are talking about, the Kundalini spirit and stuff like that. Because there are elements of that that look like some of the ways the Holy Spirit does things. And you need to be real careful about automatically inferring later that something that happened here is automatically a counterfeit because that happened at Lakeland